You? Yes, you. You woke up today with an invisible weight pressing on your chest. Maybe you didn't notice it at first. It hides behind your morning routine, your coffee, your scrolling, your quick glance at the clock. But it's there. That weight is the quiet war you're fighting. It's not against an enemy you can see, not against a government, a rival, or a stranger on the street. No, this war is far more dangerous because it's against yourself. You don't realize it, but every time you hit snooze, every time you avoid that uncomfortable truth, every time you tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, you're losing ground. And this isn't a war you can simply opt out of. The philosopher Dietrich Bonhoeffer once said, action springs not from thought, but from a readiness for responsibility. The problem is most of us aren't ready, so we drift. We hope life will just sort itself out, but it doesn't. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your mind has been trained for years to avoid pain at all costs. Psychologists call it the avoidance loop. It's the reason you check your phone instead of having that hard conversation. It's why you binge watch strangers' lives instead of building your own. You seek comfort, safety, distraction. But here's the trap. Comfort feels good, while it's quietly killing you. Friedrich Nietzsche warned of this in Thus Spoke Zarathustra when he described the last man, a creature who avoids risk, avoids discomfort, and lives only for small pleasures. The last man thinks he's safe, but he's already dead inside. And if we're honest, most of us are on that path. Let me tell you a story. In ancient Athens, there was a man who lived his whole life in the same neighborhood. He worked the same job, saw the same faces, thought the same thoughts. One day a traveler told him, there's a world beyond this city, mountains higher than clouds, seas so vast you can sail for months and never see land. The man laughed. If that world exists, it's not for me. He wasn't in chains, he wasn't locked in a cell, but his prison was in his mind. Most of us live in that same invisible prison, not because the door is locked, but because we've convinced ourselves that stepping out isn't worth the risk. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here's the catch. The outside events aren't your real enemy. It's the inside events, your thoughts, fears, habits, that sabotage you. You're not losing because life is too hard. You're losing because you've accepted a life that's too easy. Your mind whispers, just stay here, don't risk it, don't try, you might fail. But here's what your mind doesn't tell you. Not trying is the biggest failure of all. Pause for a second. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You're looking into your own eyes. If I asked you, are you proud of how you've lived this past year? What would you say? Would you be able to meet your own gaze without looking away? Machiavelli wrote in The Prince about how rulers must sometimes act against their nature to protect their kingdom. You're the ruler of your own life. The question is, are you willing to act against your nature of comfort and passivity to protect your future? Here's the strange thing. We think freedom means doing whatever we want, but true freedom is discipline. Plato knew this. In the Republic, he described how those who live without self-control are not truly free. They are slaves to their impulses. The person who chooses discomfort over laziness, action over fear, responsibility over blame, that person is untouchable. The rest, they're just prisoners calling themselves free. Here's where it gets tricky. Most people won't change after hearing this, not because they don't agree, but because the truth demands something from them. And that's terrifying. Change is supposed to feel uncomfortable. Growth is supposed to feel risky. If you wait until it feels safe, you'll be waiting forever. The Persian poet Rumi wrote, "Try to accept the changing seasons of your soul even when the winter comes. But you keep trying to live in summer forever." Every time you avoid the hard thing, a small part of you dies. You may not notice it at first, but the voice inside you, the one that used to say, let's go, let's try, let's build, gets quieter, until one day it's silent. That's when you've lost the war. Not because life defeated you, but because you stopped showing up for the fight. Here's the good news, that voice isn't gone forever. It's waiting, watching. It wants you to remember that every single day you have a choice. The Roman philosopher Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to start. The perfect moment is a lie. Start now, in the mess, in the fear, in the uncertainty. Because action creates clarity, not the other way around. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 24 hours, do one thing you've been avoiding. Make that call, write that page, take that walk, have that conversation. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It matters that you did it. Every action you take against your own avoidance is a step toward freedom. Every step toward freedom is a step toward becoming undefeatable. Life isn't about avoiding pain, it's about choosing the pain that's worth enduring. Because if you don't choose it, life will choose for you. And it will choose the kind that leaves you bitter, hollow, and wishing you'd been braver. And so the question is not, will you fight? The question is, will you fight today? And if you do, don't be surprised when you wake up tomorrow feeling lighter. Because the quiet battle, you'll have won a round. And that's how revolutions start. Not in the streets, but inside the human soul.